Let's get this party started. All right. So Sunday Strength, welcome you guys. We have been doing um, something that I think will be special later on, which is that um, we are making our book, and in the process of making the book, I am um, presenting each chapter and each section to you guys. So, kind of as a recap for the people who may have not been able to catch the first couple of videos, those videos were about, and the section probably will be in. And not that these things are in stone, but just kind of looking overall, like what it will be about. Those sections or those two last chapters will be in a section where we're really recognizing what the fracture in your own life is and or in your marriage that's causing your relationship a hardship. So um, our first two conversations were about basically being able to look within and then kind of seeing like the broken mirror, the ideas that there could be hardship in your marriages and then what's going on. And so we're really just kind of tapping into um, what those situations look like. But this week and in our next few videos, we are looking more at, well, what's the mindset shift that we need to make? And one of the mindset shifts that we need to make is looking at forgiveness, because I think that it's a sneaky scenario that we put ourselves in where um, we haven't done some forgiving in ways that we don't even realize that forgiveness is needed. Um, and then we're interacting based on that. So we'll talk about that here in a second. The other cool thing that I'm doing is I've paired each section also with a Bible study. So during the week, um, I'm doing a Bible study that pairs with these conversations that I'm having too. So if you guys want to catch that, that's on my YouTube as well. All right. So forgiveness. So let's start with the idea that it's really probably the main place that I think is at issue here is, are you forgiving yourself? And the reason I think that people don't even know to forgive themselves is because you wouldn't even think that you're doing something to set yourself up. And so when we're not forgiving, usually we're trying to do something to create a punishment or a payback, right? And the truth is, inside of you, you know all the hurts and wrongs that you've done. And so you kind of have a pattern of um, creating a payment yourself, right? And in fact, that's actually how things are kind of wired, which is interesting because I think that um, when I was looking at something the other day, it was saying like how automatically, like if we're able to follow the wisdom that's actually truth, then that gives us an automatic route towards outcomes that represent things like abundance and goodness and all of those kinds of situations. But when we're not following those things, it's automatically kind of laced with or embedded with hurtful outcomes. And so we do self sabotaging and self punishing things a lot of times because we've known the transgressions that we've done in life, in our minds, in our hearts, in our interactions, even when nobody else knows. And so I think this is a really big deal as far as our mind shift goes, because if you are in a place where you've done things that are hurtful to other people, or you've done things that are could be possibly even hurtful to yourself, you not being able to forgive yourself is something that becomes an issue. And so we got to be able to know um, that exists, that's in there, that you could be sabotaging your relationship, that you could um, have struggles with those kinds of things. And if you can get to that, I think it helps you for the second part, which the second part to me is us being able to forgive other people. Um, so when you are thinking about trying to forgive somebody else, we'll go back to this punishment idea. A lot of times people don't realize the idea of not forgiving somebody is really about us trying to hold their feet to the fire or punish them, so to speak, because they've done something that was hurtful to us. And because it was hurtful to us, we cannot forgive them. I mean, what does forgiveness really mean if you think about it? Or not forgiving somebody. If you say to somebody, I cannot forgive you, what does that really mean? Like, at the end of the day, it's not something like that you're giving to somebody. It just means that you're holding on to something because you felt hurt or you were hurt in that situation. And so, if you really kind of break down um, what it is something to set up to punish somebody for something that they've done to you. Now, what grows out of this, and I think this happens as individuals, but it also happens as we're dealing with other people, is that you start having to carry so much just to hold on to the punishment of the negative thing that happened. And so it's not like you actually said the negative thing happened and then I'm not forgiving. And so that makes it okay. Now, it might make it feel better in the moment, but the long term of that says that you're actually holding on to the negative, a negative match. You're actually, even though it might not look the same, you're holding on to actually both. Because one is you got to hold on to the thing that actually happened. Like, I'm going to keep reminding myself of the thing that happened. But then two, you also have to remind yourself to, and your body is in tune with the idea that says I have to make sure I uphold this punishing aspect. And so in both cases, the wear of not forgiving is so much that it causes us an undue amount of stress and pain and more hurts, and erodes ultimately at your marriage relationship and your willingness to participate in the relationship. And so it's really important that we figure out how to do it different. One of my favorite ways of doing it different is what Brene Brown described. And I remember her saying, like, um, and this was throughout all of my work as an individual trying to get better at doing relationship. But she says, in order to forgive, we have to let something die. And she used the scripture idea that says, like, just similar to the way that Jesus was sacrificed as a as a way to forgive the sins of that Adam and Eve started. And so when you think about that, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Because in this case, just like what we're talking about, like, you holding on to these things is causing you a whole lot of pain. Well, what is it that you have to um, let die in these circumstances? Well, a lot of times what you have to let die is some of your beliefs. Some of your beliefs that somebody did something to you instead of somebody did something that was wrong, or something that says um, um, that somehow that you are the person that did the things that you're not happy about, instead of being the person that says, look, I know that was wrong, right? So there's different belief opportunities that you have, but the beliefs that you have right now are upholding a um, an idea that says I'm not going to forgive, and so because of that, it doubles down on the pain. So our job is to be able to let those things die. All of the ideas that you have, the beliefs that you have about what should be going on and what shouldn't be going on, they're not going to work for you if it's time to heal and create something else. And as you're able to do this, as you're able to start working through letting go of the things, first with yourself, but then second with your partner if it's necessary, it's a game changer because of the interaction that it opens up. And so, what do we replace forgiveness with? So, if I'm holding on to something, I need some kind of interaction to do that's actually going to say, okay, well, if I'm going to forgive them, well, what needs to happen next? Well, this might not be your favorite, but it's going to be the most effective. The most effective thing is for you to be able to figure out how to love, right? And the way that we start figuring out how to love is one, through being able to do that with yourself. So being able to say, look, I'm important enough, and matter enough to be loved, and I am lovable constantly, right? And as you can start managing that expectation and that concept, you can shift it over to your partner as well. So as they do things that are not healthy, helpful, and are very hurtful, you can shift into that forgiveness aspect because you've already done it for yourself. And so, again, you'll say to them, no matter what their scenarios are, they are still lovable, and you are going to continue to do that based on who you want to be and not necessarily based on the actions that they put in front of you. So it's constant work, but that is the challenges for us to be able to look at being able to use forgiveness, to heal ourselves and then ultimately our relationships. All right, so we actually have a master class that I want to make sure that I let you guys know about, coming up, and it's in 2 weeks. Let me look at my calendar really quick. Yeah, it's on the 27th, on Saturday. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is in the morning time, actually morning time in California time, at 9 o'clock. I'm going to do the whole master class. Usually I split the master class up into 3 days. I'm doing the whole master class, and it'll probably take about 2 hours. Um, and so I want to invite you. I want you to invite people, to get to the master class. What you will do is you'll hit the link in our YouTube profile, and really it's on all of our profiles. And so, and then feel free to share that and let people get some of this goodness that we're constantly working on in here. All right. So we'll see you guys during the week. We'll have 2 more Bible studies, and then we'll also have another chapter that we'll do together as well. All right. We'll talk to you soon.